you mute me?
Dan out here ruining the intro. It's supposed to be all silent.
Let's go.
Is one F-bomb on the show. I already lost it. Shame, shame, shame. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Top Dog Talk podcast. I'm your host, Harris Areno. Alongside me, co-host Dan Kiley, Kobe Piers. Dan uses one F-bomb of the show in the 30-second intro. Shame, shame, shame. Boys, how we doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Had to do some inventory and then rush home through traffic. So I beat it. I got here by the skin of my teeth.
Hell yeah. That's what we like to hear.
Hey, man, we're doing great. It's hump day on a short week. 2 days down, 2 days to go. It's a good feeling. Game, more football this weekend. I just been trying to think. It's been a long 2 days of work, though. So I'm a little fried mentally.
It's always the short weeks that are the long weeks, even though they're short weeks. So, anyways, we got some hot topics, very topical ones. Dan Kiley puts these together. Kobe, you're bad for that. Kirby Smart was asked about the crowd this weekend. Denied it, avoided it on Saturday. Was asked if he was disappointed. He said, "You said that, not I." And then Tuesday, was asked about it again. And he was talking about the crowd and leaving early, and he said, "Hey, it's a culture thing. It's you gotta want it to stay there for a whole game." So, hot topic number one tonight, gentlemen. In your opinion, what circumstances make it okay to leave a game early? I know Dan really wants this question, so we're gonna let Dan go last. Kobe, I'm gonna let you kick it off tonight on this one.
Yeah, I think I like a solo screen out the gate. I think it's hard. I was there. I was at the game on Saturday. And the stadium, for what it's worth, split down the middle, has a shaded side and a sunny side. And I think in the third quarter, about halfway through, when I kind of looked up and saw that the stadium was kind of emptying, you definitely saw that it was on the sunny side, on the opposing side of the stadium. So I think it might have been hot. There's a lot of good games on. There were a lot of good games on. FSU Alabama is currently going on. That's the whole side that the student section's in. So I feel like they're definitely kind of ready to get out of there, ready to get to another tailgate, ready to go downtown, ready to go home and watch Clemson LSU. I think anytime you play a lackluster opponent and there are more high-quality college football games on elsewhere, I think you're always in trouble of people possibly walking out when it's kind of hot and the game gets kind of boring, because we went on a bit of an offensive lull there towards the end of the second half, beginning of the end of the first half, beginning of the second half, where we kind of went down, scored 21 in a hurry, and then it was kind of like Marshall couldn't do anything, but really we couldn't do anything either. So I mean, at some point, I can watch this at the house.
Look, Kobe, I got one circumstance. Dan, I'm going to make you wait because I know you're going to be fired up about this one. I'm curious to see what Dan's take is. I was talking about this to him earlier, and I got a sense, but he didn't really tell me. There's only one circumstance where you can leave a game. Well, two. If your team's getting blown out, go ahead and head home. All right? I understand. I get it. Leave. By all means. Second, if you're there with young kids, I get it. When it's 90 degrees on a Saturday in the fall and Georgia's up 45-7, you're excused. Understand, 100%. Those are the only two circumstances for me, boys, why you should leave early. Dan, where are you at on this?
I'm really not all that passionate about it. I am lucky to where I get to go to a lot of Hawks games, and it's far away from the house. I usually have my kids with me. The NBA is a little bit different because every team makes a run, and somehow, even if it's a 40-point game, somehow it's close at the end. But I hate leaving games early that you paid for. It's hard for me to rationalize that, but I've also got kids, and I've had my son and my daughter out to Georgia games early in the season, and typically people bring their young kids like me. Like I'm not a big donor, booster, whatever. So the only games I can really afford are the games against Marshall or Austin Peay, right? A game like that. Those are the only games I can really afford. So those would be the games I'd go to. And they're well in hand early in the second half. And a lot of times your kids are just done. They're ready to go. And if you're a parent and you've ever had to sit with your kid who is done, man, you can judge me all you want to. Having to sit there with a kid who's just absolutely done, like it's time to go. And it's not necessarily for me, it's for everybody around me. Because, if I'm sitting next to Kobe and his wife and they're there to enjoy the game, and I have my son with me and he's throwing a temper tantrum because he's 6 years old, they don't want to hear that. They want to watch the game. So you just have to kind of understand the circumstance. This, for all intents and purposes, this was a preseason game. And you kind of have to view it that way. I don't know that Kirby was like way over the top about the fans leaving early. And I don't think it's necessarily even aimed at people with children. I think it's aimed at a different direction. But my whole point is, yeah, I mean, there's certain games you leave early, and I don't like leaving early as a general rule, but there are times that you do leave early. But like, listen, if it's Texas, like I am not leaving that game early. I mean, you're gonna have to cut my arm off, and that might be the only thing that leaves early is my arm because you cut it off. I'm staying in my seat and I'm ready to go. But it is what it is at this point. I mean, you have to understand the game, the concept, the time, all the different things. And Kobe brings up a great point. There were a lot of options on Saturday.
Andy Stowe, hashtag favorite P State Power co-host. He's here tonight with us. What if you're old like Eddie and you have a 4 p.m. dinner? Well, if you have a 4 p.m. dinner for a 3:30 kick, you should just stay home at that point. Sorry, Eddie. But yeah, Eddie's the oldest person mentioned on this show of all time. Shout out to Dan. He's now one of the younger people on this show. Second hot topic. This goes hand in hand with what we just talked about. And this, I think there should be a consensus answer to this one. And Kobe, you played in college, so you played at Georgia. I'm intrigued. I think you're probably in the same side as me and Dan. I'll go first here, the rare time. Would you rather open the season with a cupcake to work the kinks out, or open the season with a strong opponent to see where you stack up? Guys, I'm all for the big game out of the gate. It makes the offseason funner. It makes the offseason go by faster. There's hype and anticipation. The Clemson game last year was awesome. The Oregon game was awesome. I'm here for the great game out of the gate. And look, you don't have to go play an Ohio State or an Oregon in week one every time. You can go play a lower tier, like say, hey, if Georgia wanted to open with Bill Belichick and UNC this year, that's still a game that you can kind of get up for. It's a notable brand. And it's much better to me than having to go through two games where you go watch it and there's really not much to take away other than guys flashing and guys just looking absolutely dominant. Give me the more competitive game out of the gate for week one.
From a competitive standpoint, you have to be a little bit smart on how you schedule that first game of the season. If you have a team coming back that you know is going to be good, I have no problem with scheduling a big game out of the gate. But if you are replacing a lot of people, breaking a lot of people in, I think that tune-up game is almost essential. It's not fun for the fans. I'm just talking about from a team's perspective. From a fan's perspective, of course, we want the big game all the time. But at the same time, you have to be smart about it. And I think Georgia having games that are manageable to start the season is probably a really good idea for the season because there's a lot of new faces that are going to be key contributors, and you have the ability to see them in game action where there's not a lot of risk involved as far as consequences of making a mistake. Where if you were to play a Texas in week one or something like that, there's consequences to making a bad play. So I love the big game. You're right. It's easier to be up for it. It helps the guys prepare in the offseason, but at the same time, you have to be kind of smart about it. And I think for this particular year, I think Georgia was kind of smart to open up with two games that they can manage. Kobe?
Yeah, I think like you're saying, there's just so many variables to this that I think of it like you're saying from a player's perspective, from a fan's perspective. From a player's perspective, you really don't care. Like, you're just ready. The offseason's long. As long as you think it is as a fan, I promise you, as a player, it is longer. Like, nobody's waking you up at 6 o'clock to go run stadiums while Kirby's screaming at you. So like the chance to play someone else, kind of like he used to joke, like, make someone else pay for all the things I've been yelling at you. It's time to make somebody else pay for it. So at that point, you just want to kind of go play ball. I think from a fan's perspective, the big game is super exciting, but I think the big game is only super exciting if you win. And that's any game, right? Like, any game is only really exciting if you win. But I look at where Alabama fans are this week, basically hitting the big red panic button and asking, what's the buyout going to be for, Kalen DeBoer after one road game against FSU? Is it cause for concerns? Yes. Is it time to hit the big red emergency button? Maybe not. Do they beat FSU if they play 2 warm-up games on the season and kind of get their feet wet and like who they are as a team, how they look, how they're going to respond? Maybe. It's just hard to tell. I think that small wins in games like Marshall don't necessarily make or break your season as far as like building up for a national championship run. But I do think that losing games like Alabama did has the potential to derail your season before it ever gets started. So in that thought process, it better be a big enough game that you're up for, but a winnable enough game that you haven't gambled the rest of your season on it. So obviously with the new extended playoff, it's completely different. But I mean, you think about back to 6 years ago, 10 years ago, you lose a game out the jump, and I mean, people are ready to let it sail. An 11-1 team's out of luck.
Yeah, I think from the Georgia perspective, it's really interesting because obviously Georgia hasn't lost a season opener since Smart's been here. It's like from a Georgia perspective, there is no like, what does that look like for Georgia in terms of recent times? Anyone know the last time Georgia lost a season opener?
I'm guessing Boise State in the Dome in 2000. I think that was like 9. 2000. I think it was Aaron Murray. It's the Red Ranger, so it's later than maybe 2009, maybe 2010.
I'm gonna scroll back. Because I'm curious myself. I don't remember the last time they lost. I can't remember off the top. That sounds right. But I can't remember anything more recent than that one.
I was there for that.
Clemson 2013. That is confirmed. That is the last time Georgia lost its season opener.
Nice.
I should remember that one.
When did we lose in the Ranger uniforms? 2011.
Yep. 2011.
Go Power Rangers.
Georgia actually started 0-2 that year because then they lost to South Carolina the next week.
Man, I was ready to hit the panic button that year.
What would Twitter look like if Georgia started a season 0-2?
Not good.
Not good this year, that's for sure.
Absolutely. All
well
right.
played.
Let's transition into. We've already touched on Georgia a little bit. We got some injury updates this week from Coach Smart. Obviously, Saturday, you saw 2 players exit the game with injuries. Juan Gaston, the starting true freshman right guard, went down with what looked like a brutal potential season-ending knee injury or leg injury. Doesn't appear to be as bad. Smart said, we hope to get both those guys back this week, but only time will tell. When he asked for more details on that at the end of the presser, he said both are lower extremity injuries. Thanks. And he walked off. Very succinct in terms of how he delivered those extra details on Dalen Everett, the guy that I think everyone kind of didn't even realize played, which I guess is a good thing in terms of, hey, it means you didn't really give up any big plays through the air with your first team defense on the field. He said, and I quote, seems to be doing well. He's able to run and do some things yesterday. Should be able to crank it back up today and do more. On Roger Robinson, he's dealing with a hamstring issue. Smart said they didn't want to press it on Saturday. And then for Brett Thorson, still waiting to be cleared by the medical staff after tearing his ACL in the SEC championship game last year. Gentlemen, extremely fortunate news on the Juan Gaston injury front. Georgia is expected to get him back. I'm not sure if it will be this week, and I'm not really sure how long it will be that he will be out, but it's good news nonetheless that he's coming back, period.
Yeah, when I saw that live, it did not look good. So you're absolutely right. It's good to get him back. And then like I told you earlier, I didn't even see Green get hurt, so I have no idea what was wrong with him.
I'm in the same boat. I saw Gadsden go down. And what's funny is like different perspectives. Like I haven't watched the TV copy, but live and in person, like it didn't look that bad from my angle with the binoculars. He got up fairly, walked okay off the field. I was at the point where I was like, he just got leg whipped, probably scared him pretty bad. But like you're saying, I have to go back and watch. But glad that they're okay. I mean, nobody likes ending your season after one half of football, especially like we've talked about, somebody as promising as him. So be nice to be healthy for a season for sure.
Really hated that Ernest Green and Rod Robinson are already dealing with injuries this year. I mean, Rod Robinson, I don't think there's been a season where he hasn't had to deal with an injury. Hopefully Georgia gets him back. Kirby did note he had ankle surgery this offseason. So he was just now getting back from that, then had the hamstring issue. And then obviously Jalen Everett. Boys, on him and Brett Thorson, there's no rush this week. I think, honestly, with Everett, it's probably a good thing if he is sidelined one more week, let him rest, and you let Ellis Robinson, DeMello Jones, and Daniel Harris continue to compete on that first team defense at corner. I mean, those guys played well. I want to say it was DeMello Jones that gave up that deep ball late in the fourth of that game. It was either DeMello or one of the younger corners after him. For those guys, for that competition, I say you let those kids play as much as possible before you go into Tennessee, which will be a raucous environment, really the first test of the year.
Like you're saying, I hope that if Everett's healthy enough, I'd love for him to at least take one series of reps, just to knock a little bit of that rust off before all of a sudden, like you're saying, you're in Tennessee and it's bombs over Baghdad on you or something like that. So,
bombs over Baghdad. That's a great way to describe the Tennessee offense.
Yeah. So it would be nice if it's healthy enough to, I mean, I'm not asking a man to play 20, 30 snaps. 10 at the most is, and then let him put the boot back on for all I care.
Yeah, I'm not to be repetitive, but that's exactly what I was going to say. Is I would like to see him get a couple snaps if he's healthy enough to do so, just to get his bearings. But other than that, it's not overly necessary for a guy like that to play. He's played plenty of football, but it is always good to get a little bit of live action.
Absolutely, and we'll see who those guys play. In terms of talking Austin Peay, we haven't watched Austin Peay. Full disclosure, neither of us have. Probably the last time we all watched Austin Peay was when Kobe and Co. were playing them out there a few years ago. Boys, so obviously this preview is going to be very different from the one we do next week. It's just more about what we expect to see from Georgia. But before we do that, I kind of want to open the floor. Any, I guess, further recap or reactions from Saturday, what you saw from Georgia's team? Anything that y'all have seen kind of during the week, these first few days, that's caught your eye? Like, ooh, I didn't think about that originally.
No, not for me. I mean, that's what the Sunday show is for, is we want to try to flesh all that out, and we hope that you guys are tuning into that. But I mean, I've kind of moved on.
Yeah, I thought it was a good, like you're saying, a good opening sequence from the 2025 team. I think you show a lot of depth in people that can play for this team, which I think is a good thing in the NIL era. But yeah, ready for the next week.
Let's go ahead and hit in terms of offense. Obviously, Gunnar Stockton. I've seen it this week. I've seen it all, and part of it's from just the audience that you see on social media. We got to chill with the overreaction to the vanilla.
Can you say his name? Can you say the man's name that's been talking all that talk on Twitter this week?
Oh, there's been multiple. It's not just one person.
Okay.
Yeah. The vanilla offense crowd, the people, I've seen multiple talking about, this isn't a vanilla offense. This is the offense. I'm like, look, when we talk about vanilla, we're not talking about the approach. We're not talking about the run pass splits. We're more so talking about, hey, they're not going to run their best man beater versus Austin Peay on a Saturday in early September, as opposed to running their best man beater in a week versus Tennessee. That's vanilla. Like, we're running mirrored passing concepts. We're not throwing the book at these opponents. I've seen that everywhere. And it's, to be honest, it's the same people that are on that same boat about the guy who's been here since the 90s or been around this program since the 90s, and they just can't move on.
Well, I mean, it's real simple, guys. It's like you're not going to run a lot of formation shifts. You're not going to run all of your motions. You're just going to line up and you're going to play. And and the focus is on execution. The focus is not on out scheming the defense. If you have to out scheme Austin Peay, then we are in for a lot of problems. And I don't mean to disrespect those kids. They're on scholarship too, and they were probably the best players at their high school. So I'm not disrespecting Austin Peay. I'm just saying you need those formation shifts. You need those ways to disguise what you're trying to do against the bigger teams. It's all about execution when you're playing teams like this. Is can you line up? Can you execute? Can you win with a general package of plays? And like you said, they are plays that are inside our offense. You're going to run those plays against Tennessee. You're going to run a lot of these plays against Alabama, but you're going to disguise them and how do you get to them, with motions and formation shifts and running different concepts out of different formations. So it's like you said, it's vanilla in that sense. And I mean, if you're going into this game expecting to see more than that, then there's nothing that I can say. There's nothing that Kobe can say. There's nothing that we collectively can say as a show to get you off that ledge. Because if you're expecting more, you're just not going to get it.
That was very well said, Dan. I just think that I was almost at a loss for words after hearing that. Like, there's nothing else we can say. Maybe there's not. Maybe I just on to the next question. But I thought, and they called me crazy. And yeah, like I get that it wasn't a ton of razzle dazzle, but I mean, I thought there were some very fun and interesting wrinkles within the offense for week one. There were more wrinkles than I was expecting. I mean, when he ran speed option with the quarterback on third down against Marshall, I was like, what the hell was that? I mean, I wouldn't have thought you would have seen that for, like you're saying, until Tennessee. But I feel like he purposefully put some things on film this week just to make people prepare for. We may never run them again. We may not run them for 6 weeks, but he sprinkled a few things out there for the fans, for the players, and for future defensive coordinators to go, 3rd and 2, we're going to have to watch for this. For all year, we're going to have to watch for this now. Like you're saying, I could talk myself blue in the face on them bringing the tight end in motion and throwing the old Bobo toss sweep for the touchdown. I mean, to me, I'm hoping you see that like 4 or 5 times a game. Because, like you're saying, it's a home run hitting play if it's run correctly. So, the passing game is going to be what the passing game is early in the year. We miss some shots. We missed some open receivers in reads. Like you're saying, you probably left 14 points out in the passing game this week. But it's week 1 versus Marshall. If I thought Gunner was going to have a perfect game and we were going to score 63, I'd be telling you we're peaking at the wrong time.
You know what I will almost guarantee you're going to see at some point by putting that lead option on there where you had Barbour, the tight end, coming in motion and then doing the kick out block. At some point, he's going to not kick out block and run down the field, and they're going to fake the pitch and throw it to him. I guarantee you that's going to be in there at some point.
I mean, heck, they had variations of that off the truck toss that they ran into the mountain. Every time trips into the boundary on 3rd and short, truck toss. You're just keying it. Maybe that's the new speed option for them go to on short yardage. Yeah, I was surprised by that, and I was surprised with the amount of diverse run schemes they put out there. This stat, this really caught my eye. This blew my mind. Brent Rollins put this out, I believe it was today. Was it today? Yesterday. The number of times Georgia ran a power run on Saturday, 5 times. That was 1 more power run than they had ran all of last year. That's
I'll be honest. They should beat someone should be beat behind the woodshed. The fact that we don't run power, didn't run power last year. Like it just requires, in my opinion, and it's a bad opinion. People can laugh at it, whatever. It requires less talent to run power. That's why your people run it in high school. You pull a guard, and all he's got to do is hit a linebacker, and you've got yourself a seam. And to me, the fact that sometimes it takes less skill to do doesn't mean it should be beneath you in your scheme. It just means sometimes you got to run it. So I'm glad to hear that. To me, it I think, in my opinion, allows for more home run type runs to occur if a seam gets blocked properly versus I feel like so much more has to go right on a zone run scheme for you to be free into the next level versus like you're saying a power play tends to have big fellas out in front blocking and then it may be just one broken tackle away.
Yeah, and I think run game wise, we're going to see much of the same. I expect Kobe's going to get his toss play, at least one of them this week again. I really want to see Dwight Phillips get some more carries. I think all of us could agree on that. That dude was explosive. He was, just when he ran through that tackle, I mean, he eliminated the safety thought, oh, yeah, I got him. He's not going to get the end zone on me. And Dwight Phillips was running so damn fast, he ran through his damn tackle. The guy took a poor angle because of how fast Dwight Phillips was running. More fullbacks, please. I know that will please the two gentlemen next to me on the screen. I know they want to see more of that fullback. I expect much of the same. Now, in terms of the passing game, I think I'm going to say it, boys. I think you get one deep shot touchdown this week. I think you just get one beater. Just one. Georgia really didn't take a shot downfield. They had some attempts. The Oscar Delp corner route that Gunner underthrew a little bit on the run, that would have been their biggest play of the game. That would have been near 60-yard touchdown if he threw it, hit him in stride. I think you're getting one. Just one this week because they really didn't take a shot. They really didn't test it deep. And maybe they're saving some of that for Tennessee, but I think you want to go ahead and put it on tape.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, they did when they were, I want to say it was second quarter. Maybe I'm wrong, but we were going from left to right, and we were at about the 30, and we took a couple shots into the end zone from the 30, and we didn't hit them, but they did take some shots downfield a little bit. But to your point, they weren't going like 70 yards,
I think I'm with you. I think probably a few more than one just because you got a lot of mouths to feed. I see you possibly trying to hit Noah on one because I think you're going to try to you hit Zach Branch on the swing pass, screen pass that he takes to the house. I think you'd like to see a receiver or two be able to be running wide open or open down the field, and Gunner hit him in stride, them catch it and continue to run. I think that obviously that's something that has to be executed properly in a game before you feel comfortable calling it, especially if it's there. I think a couple of the young guys, I mean, we took a shot. I'm pretty sure it was to Taylor at one point that we just missed. I mean, so there are definitely going to be there'll be a couple shots downfield. Like you're saying, maybe not more than 4, but they're going to try to. There won't be a throw, in my opinion, that Gunner's asked to make against Tennessee that won't be made in the game on Saturday. It's the final run through for everything for the SEC season. It's can you read the defense? Can you go through your progressions? Can you throw the short passing game? Can you throw a timing route? Can you throw your intermediate routes? Can you throw your deep ball? To me, Coach Bobo is going to take him through all those at some point while he's in, and then you're going to pull him and let Pug kind of run through semi-similar situations and get out of there.
Kobe, you bring up a good point. I'm wondering, do you see Pug a little bit earlier this week? Because you got him in and you got one drive. Was it one or two drives? Really one drive where was able to run the offense, the normal offense. Do you try and get him in earlier this week? Try to get him 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think it's all, head ball coach makes that decision. But in my opinion, it's very much like point based a lot of times. If we would have scored a time or two more before halftime, if you'd have gone down and it was 31-0 instead of 21 or 24, then you maybe get the 2s in a little bit sooner. But I think that part of it is if you don't execute, if the 1s don't execute the way you want them to execute, then in your opinion, they need more reps. Like if you ask them to go and do what you would consider your base offensive plays and they're not executing it to a point where you're happy with it, then I'm not going to let them go sit down and pat them on the back and say, good job, fellas. Y'all did great out there today. You're going to go do another drive. Y'all are kind of struggling. This is Marshall and you're struggling. And like you say, no offense to anybody, but same thing with Austin Peay. Like if you can't line up our 5 offensive linemen versus their 4 defensive linemen and a linebacker and run the ball, we got bigger problems. I mean, like you should be able to manhandle their 5 guys with your 5 guys. So, as far as Pug getting in, I think it's important for him to get some reps, but definitely probably way on back there in the head ball coach's mind.
He looked good too.
He did. The Elias Williams touchdown, spectacular throw. Hey, shout out to Roots. Shout out to the man Roots. Nice to see you. Over 30 points. What more do you want? Hey, man, I'm cool. Whatever. I'm cool with an old school 10-7 football game. Maybe not this week because I don't want to see the backlash when it's 10-7. But next week, if you want to go 10-7 old school, absolutely. I will take a defensive football game. Dan may punch me. Kobe may punch me for saying that. But I'm here for it. If you want to do it that way, I am cool.
Hold on. I want to give a shout out to Roots, one of the OGs. He's been a supporter of this show forever. I love my guy, Roots. I ain't seen that man in forever. Thank you for tuning in. He's Absolutely. A good guy.
Shout out, Rudy. Always here when he can be. We appreciate you, my man. Gentlemen, I guess we'll hit defense real quick. Only real other note I had was, I mean, really, you're going to see more mixing, matching in the offensive line. The point y'all brought up on Sunday about how Gunner got a series with the twos, with much of the twos, more of the twos, in terms of it was Jaw Jackson at left tackle, Hewley at right tackle. I think it was Cortez Smith in at center. I'll be curious if maybe that one goes to Puglisi this week. You're going to see more mixing, matching offensive line. Defensively, I mean, again, when we talk about vanilla on offense,
they played everybody.
Yeah, you're going to play everybody. You're going to play more people. And then in terms of vanilla on defense, you're not going to run your stunts. You're really not going to show any blitzes. You're just going to line up and play. And that's all they need. But for what we're watching this week, we're looking at the secondary. I think Georgia wants to find its rotation at safety. And maybe it doesn't become more than just a rotation. Maybe you're constantly rotating guys based on situations. It was Kyron Jones that got the start this past weekend. Then you saw an Adrian Maddox, a Zion Branch. I think we saw Jaden Harris in that game at some point. I think he was with the twos for the most part, but I think it's Maddox and Jones's job to maybe secure it there at safety across from KJ Bolden. And then we already touched on the corners. Harris and Robinson and Jones battling with Daniel Harris. Boys,
I just want to say,
yeah.
Before you move on from the defense, my biggest takeaway from the amount of guys that played is what an embarrassment of riches we have at the linebacker position. It was like when they rotated through. Your main guys obviously started, but those younger guys got in pretty quick, and you have just every guy that got in at linebacker. I felt like there really wasn't a massive drop off. In years past, and I'm not saying linebackers specifically, but a lot of times when the twos get in or the threes get in, you can kind of see the drop off, right? I felt all day like that group of linebackers they were so fast. I don't know about you, Kobe. I don't know if you picked up on that in person, but the amount of names that were getting tackles and how quickly they were getting to the ball. And I guess you have to give a lot of credit to the defensive line for keeping people off of them, right? Because that's their number one job is keep them off the linebackers. But good heavens, the linebackers were just incredible. And that was my biggest takeaway. I was just like, holy hell.
Like you're saying, I think that's where you start talking about, the people that watch a lot of football, the people that have been around high levels of football, the speed. And, I know that gets overused for quarterbacks and like the speed of the game, but you don't really realize that they mean that the time it takes from a linebacker from going from 3 yards into from the defensive backfield to 4 yards in your face, that speed, that's the speed they're talking about. The time that it takes for you to have your reads. It's not necessarily, the DBs are breaking on balls faster, which they are, but it's just the fact that everyone out on the field, everything is happening so much more quickly. And I think it's always very apparent when you play a team below you in classification that the sideline to sideline speed is ridiculous, because a lot of times, a marshal or someone's going to try to stretch the field on you and have you running side to side, not as much up and down. And they're just going to try to catch you out of position, hit that seam, and try to go. I think it's always impressive. It's something that all the great linebackers that have come under Coach Schumann have done a great job, sideline to sideline. I mean, Roquan was phenomenal at it. Nakobe, Monty Rice, Natrez Patrick, and then this group of guys. I mean, they're just fast. They do such a good job. They're so well coached. They study so much film. They're able to identify things so quickly, make a break on the ball. And then huge shout out through game one. They've made a lot of really good tackles through the first game. So I think that's a big thing. I think that, as a unit last year, they maybe didn't play to the standard that we're used to watching them at, as far as like missing tackles and maybe misdiagnosing, like watching pulling guards or watching the running back in the hole. I think they got caught out of position a time or two and missed a tackle a time or two. I mean, you think that the two junior linebackers don't hear that there's two all-stars breathing down their neck? I mean, everybody has to play better in order to be able to play. And I would say all four of them played at borderline and all-conference level on Saturday. So I was very impressed.
Look, you talk about tackling. This is the good news. I booted up PFF to see how they displayed missed tackles, and I'm going to compare it to the Tennessee Tech game last year, because they opened with Clemson, and it's wild. They had 2 missed tackles versus Clemson in week 1. That's wild to think about, considering last year was one of the worst tackling teams they've had under Kirby Smart. This year, in the game 1, you opened with just 6 missed tackles on Saturday. You compare that to Tennessee Tech last year, another similar opponent. They had 10. So, and you see that number drop, and I think that's good. That was one of the things I think Smart talked about in fall camp, was trying to find that balance this year, because the numbers, you're going down in numbers with the scholarship rules and all that. You don't have as many people, able to practice. So you got to figure out ways to be more creative in terms of tackling, trying to keep guys healthy. I think that's good news. I'm curious to see. They're going to be tested next week in terms of tackling in space. When they played Tennessee and they beat them well, it's because they tackle. It's one of their best tackling games every year over the recent years since Josh Heupel's gotten there. They'll have to do that again. In terms of boys, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think, and Kobe and Dan, maybe I'm wrong. I think from a pure athleticism standpoint, you take the football part of it out of it, take it out. I think this is the most athletic linebacker room they've had in quite some time. I think the only one that comes close is probably that 21 group, just because you're talking about an insane athlete in Channing Tindall, another insane athlete in Quay Walker, a pretty good athlete in Nakobe Dean. But I think when you look at the room now, I think CJ Allen probably matches up in terms of athleticism with Nakobe Dean. But then you just have absolute Raylan Walker, demon. Chris Cole, alien. Justin Williams, alien. Like, I think they have a ton of aliens in that room, freak athletes, and I don't know if they've had another more athletic linebacker room than they have now.
Like you're saying, I think year to year, I mean, that 21 group was special, right? Like you had some dudes in the room. I would say,
from a football perspective, that's the best. 21's the best.
Yeah. I would say you're pushing that right now. I mean, you're 5 deep are starting at pretty much any major Division I school in all of football, and they're happy here being the 5 deep, and that's a big shout out to Schumann. I mean, he gets guys drafted. You practice with him, you prepare with him, you watch film with him, you play football under him, and you're gonna play at the next level. I mean, it's just that simple, and it's no different than this room at all. So, like you're saying, the defense under Coach Smart, I would say the fact that he felt like it probably was missing something last year that hurt his feelings personally. As a man that takes pride in the defense, he probably took a long look and was like, we may suck on offense, but I'll be damned if we're going to have a bad defense again. And lucky for him, we're a pretty good offense too.
All right, boys. Well, we'll touch on Edge's defensive line real quick. But first, we're gonna give a special shout out. Play of the week. Let me make sure this is on screen. Kobe, when you go into the meeting room at Georgia and there's a play like this, does this get shown? Does this get mentioned? Watch Gabe Harris over here on the right side of your screen. Blows chunks real quick, and then he's going to go slam himself into the guard to free up his teammate. Kobe, I captioned this. I put this on Twitter. Nothing says fire, passion, and energy more than Gabe Harris puking and then slamming himself into the guard. Kobe, in the meeting room, does that get shown? Does that get talked about? Stuff like that? Because it's not the first time you've seen someone. I mean, heck, there's probably at least one instance from every August game, somebody puking on the field.
Yeah. Typically, we start team meeting on Monday with a segment with the head ball coach called "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly." It typically shows like a clip or two of the good, a clip or two of the bad, a clip or two of the ugly. Just a good chance to kind of like poke some fun at some things that happened on Saturday, or the ugly sometimes would be like if a ball boy just fell trying to run the ball to the referee. I mean, it could be anything, just kind of poking some fun, kind of getting the week started lighthearted. But I would definitely say that I could see him even calling it this year, like starting with fire, passion, and energy. What are you doing in this with all that? But it's amazing because you think you're ready, and that still just shocks me. Like, you think you're ready. Shout out Coach Sinclair and his staff. I know he's ran those guys. I know they are in phenomenal shape. But it's something about just being juiced up out there on a Saturday in the heat, and you're running full speed into other people. It always gets somebody. Somebody always comes up puking, and it just never fails. So glad he kind of shook that off and ran right into the guard. Nothing's scarier on the other side than seeing a man sick to his stomach and then running at you full speed, Bobby Boucher style. So
a lot of times that's you drank water way too fast, bro. Like you're over there chugging water on the sideline instead of just sipping on it.
Then you gotta go out there and be violent on the field for pretty much 4 downs until you force a punt. All right, well, that's kind of our that's kind of our expectations for Saturday. Not much, I know. It's Austin Peay. We'll see. I got props. We'll hit props, and then we got picks, national picks. Just to glance back over the picks, and we did the picks on Sunday. We reviewed those. Dan's off to a hot start. What's new? Kobe's struggling. Kobe and DeBoer are both in the same boat. The fire's getting turned up.
Damn it,
There's
boy.
some people talking. There's some people talking about Kobe needed to bounce back, just like Kalen.
Is my payout for this podcast as high as DeBoer's is at Alabama? Because if it is, I may throw a game or two this week.
Hey, that's well played. On the prop side, Dan, you went 3-0 last week. Kobe, you went 2-1. The place y'all differed was the 39.5-point spread. Kobe said yes. Dan said no, and the no hit. This week, I got 3 props I'm proud of. The last one, probably the toughest of the 3. All right. Yes or no, Georgia has 2 sacks on Saturday.
Yes.
You had none this week.
You would have to think that would be a focus, but I don't. Does Austin Peay throw it a lot?
Great question. Not sure.
That's a great question. I'm gonna ride with Dan. I'm gonna say just odds are yes.
Odds are.
I mean, I feel like you start with a goose egg week 1. I feel like odds are you're gonna find 1 or 2 week 2.
Austin Peay threw it 27 times on Saturday, but they blew. I mean, they beat Middle Tennessee 34-14. They
give up any sacks?
Times.
They give up any sacks?
They give up 3.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, here we go.
All right, both said yes. All right, this is another one. Does Georgia force at least 1 turnover? Yes or no? Kirby Smart was asked about the turnovers this week. He said they haven't been great at doing it, but they're important. Kobe says yes.
I'm going yeah. I think they, especially a team that likes to run the ball a lot, I feel like those big old defensive linemen get a good meaty paw in there on occasion.
I mean, odds are that they do. I mean, I'm going to say yes. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, when the number is 1, I mean, come on. Like, I feel like, yeah, Like we should get one.
Hey, here's the good news. Austin Peay fumbled it twice. Now, they didn't lose them. They fumbled it twice last week versus Middle Tennessee. So the ball did hit the carpet last week, if it makes you feel better. All right.
My man
Here's the
Dan
tough
said
one.
he needs that half hook on there. You need a 1.5. He likes to play that.
Well, no, he just said, do they at least get one? So, yeah, we're going to have to. I mean, so the number is like 0.5.
The next one. Over under. Dan hates these, but I think, and this one's tough. Georgia finishes with 510 and a half total yards. Total yards. 510 total yards over under. Full disclosure, I took the last 6 games Georgia's played against these tier opponents. So that's Marshall, Ball State, Tennessee Tech, UMass, and one other, whoever the heck the other one is. The one they opened with in 23. And the average was 510 and a half. Over under.
You know me, I like a good offensive game. I think I'm gonna go under just because I think coach is he's gonna respect Austin Peay maybe just like a hair too much after they beat Middle Tennessee last week. I think there's gonna be a couple of those drives that just end up in going nowhere. But I think we're a little under 5-10.
Yeah, I mean, I'm under because I don't think that they're going to try to run it up like that. Like I mean, to get 510 yards, that means Austin Peay is going to have to pin us deep and make us drive the field multiple times, and I just don't see that being the case. So maybe they could, but I don't.
Maybe they do.
Maybe they do. I just don't see it.
Man,
I know. Well, I know.
No,
we're
no
all
differences this week.
I mean, what did we have last week against Marshall? Like 270, 230 on the ground, 200
They
in the air, so
had
like
488 last week.
See, I just can't see it being much more than that.
Versus UMass, they put up 550.
Yeah, but UMass was scoring.
Dude, UMass is awful too. I mean, like awful. I'd jog you out there. I'd jog you out there, Harrison.
The point is that UMass was scoring, so Georgia kept scoring.
Yeah. Jar Spark, do you think they are laying off for 10? I mean, yeah, they're not going to show much versus Tennessee or versus Austin Peay. They're gonna pull the horses back a little bit. Like Trevon Thomas says, we're not playing anybody. The only thing to expect is a W. End of discussion. Yeah, but when we're doing a podcast, we gotta give you a little bit more than
it makes for a short show.
Yeah, really.
If I got on and said that, I mean, a TikTok short right there.
Yeah, buddy.
Very short.
All right, let's see your picks. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do this. All right, to recap, Dan is 6-2. He went 3-2 last week.
How many times does man have to say that? I mean, if anybody's watched the show, this will be the 8th time he said the picks.
All right, we won't say Kobe's record. All right, I got 5 games for y'all this week. 5. And I think these are all pretty close lines. There's one outlier here, but I'll explain that when we get to it. We're going to open it up with a rivalry. Iowa at Iowa State. Iowa State opens as a 3.5-point favorite at home. Kobe, who you got in the Cyhawk Bowl?
I like Iowa State to cover.
Same. Damn it, boy. Cyclones are my little favorite side team right now that I like watching.
Rocco Beck believers. I'm here with you. I if it's worth anything to you boys, I'm taking Iowa State to cover. All right. Baylor at SMU. SMU is a 2.5-point favorite at home. I was a little shocked by that one. Dan's going SMU right out of the gate to cover.
I'm taking SMU. Period. Whatever.
Right. Outright. There we go.
Kobe. Yeah, I'm probably it's Baylor at SMU.
Baylor at SMU.
I feel like my gut's telling me with Dan to go SMU but I was kind of trying to double down on the Baylor Bears. Picked them last week. They let me down. Let's go SMU outright here.
All right. He was pondering it.
I was.
Right.
It feels bad. I know the defensive line coach for Baylor, so like I really want them to be good.
All right, third one. Now this is the outlier. This one shocked me. and I get it. One of them's a title contender. One of them's in a second-tier conference. Oklahoma State at Oregon. Oregon's a 29.5-point favorite at home.
Ooh,
That
boy.
line feels abnormally large for a Big 12 school who's supposed to be competing in that conference to be a damn near 30-point dog. Kobe, where are you at? Now, wait, to add context to this, Mike Gundy went out on a presser the other day and basically complained about how much money Dan Lanning's spending. To which Dan Lanning responded to. So, Kobe, where you at?
Harrison stole my thunder. I was going to drop that tidbit in my pick. I think if Gundy would have rolled into town Vanderbilt style and not said a word, he maybe could have snuck up on somebody. But you just don't piss off the opposing head football coach in the national media. You don't point the finger and say, well, that's not fair. They're spending $40 million on their roster. Little old Oklahoma State, we can't spend that much money. I think the Ducks are gonna roll. 29 points though.
In a half.
So they got to win by more than 4 tutties. Jeez. I'm going
playing
Oklahoma.
for clicks.
I'm
going for wins, Kobe.
Yeah. I'm going Oklahoma State covers that, that spread.
All right. I see you.
I mean, like, you typically don't see lines like that with two real teams playing each other. I understand that one is better than the other, but you're talking about 29.5. That means you got to win by 30 points.
They got first-year starting quarterback at Oregon.
I'm in hell with it. I'll just go with Oregon just so Kobe has a chance to catch up.
Wow. A mercy pick?
Hell yeah, Dan. I like it. Dan's out here on fire right now, taking the 29.5 points.
Listen, I'm just going to go on record and be like, that might be a really stupid pick, but
or you might be genius.
It could be.
Listen, if I win, I'm not going to flex on that.
Sprinkle the line, Dan. Sprinkle the line.
All right. Here's another one. This is a closer line. Ole Miss at Kentucky. Ole Miss is now
I don't even care. Ole Miss.
9.5-point favorite, down from 10.5. Dan's taking Ole Miss to cover. Kobe, where you at?
I am too. Kentucky would be lucky not to give up 45.
Now, with that game being at Kentucky, weird shit does happen in Kentucky, but it's not going to be cold or raining. So I think Ole Miss will be fine.
I think Stoops is a foot out the door since he kind of teased taking the Texas A&M job. So I would say that Lane Kiffin's going to help him one more step out the door.
Yeah.
Last one. This is probably the game of the weekend. Michigan travels to Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a 5.5-point favorite. Both have new quarterbacks. Obviously, Bryce Underwood's the quarterback at Michigan. Who are we taking in Norman this weekend?
Is Michigan's head coach suspended for this game or not suspended for this game?
They're doing that next year.
He's good to go.
So next year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They allowed him to do it next year, and he gets to pick the games. It's the dumbest shit ever.
I'll tell you, if I got any respect left for Brett Venables as a former great defensive coordinator, which I do a lot. I mean, I think he was part of the reason that Clemson dynasty was a dynasty. I would think he could keep a true freshman 18-year-old quarterback from running the ball all over him. I think Oklahoma wins, but Michigan covers.
Michigan to cover the 5.5 points on the road. The Sign Steelers has Kobe. Dan, I know you got family ties on one of these sides, so I am curious to see where your pick lies here.
I think Michigan in the 5.5. I think I will go that way. I mean,
I think they showed me a lot. Game one, I mean, they looked really good. He looked really good. I would think that your plan would be to make him one-faceted in this game, but can you do it effectively enough to not have it be a close game?
All right, boys. Picks for the week. Dan is taking Iowa State, SMU, Oregon, Ole Miss, and Michigan. Kobe's taking Iowa State, SMU, Oklahoma State to cover. Ole Miss and Michigan to cover as well.
Cover is not the right word, but we understand what you're saying.
I just put it. I didn't want to rewrite the line since they're right down there. So, anyways,
We're taking Michigan plus the points. We're taking Ole Miss to cover. We're taking he's taking Oklahoma State plus the points, not to cover.
Anyways, we are not gambling experts. We are not financial advisors. You see their records. Probably don't pick with Kobe. Maybe side with Dan. Would be the extent of my advice to you on these picks. But who knows? Maybe Kobe makes a comeback this week and has a really good week, and maybe the jokes will stop. Dan, you got a blind draft for us tonight.
I knew,
and I know I put you on the spot.
You did, but it's fine.
Let's do it.
Because one of the favorite genres for every locker room I've ever been in is like crime mafia movies. Crime mafia movies they go hard in the locker. Well, every locker room I've been in is like NFL guys love like Scarface and stuff like that. So my blind draft is I'm going to give you 5 mafia crime movies, and you have to put them in order 1 through 5. Are you ready? And I picked extremely well knowns. There's no like random thing in here because I know Harrison doesn't watch any movies. So there's a chance that actually I know he hasn't seen all these, but it's fine. Kobe has. I have trust that Kobe has seen these movies. Are you ready?
Are
you ready?
I can't
this
wait
blind
to
draft was not to be
whoop this guy.
Crap on me.
Right.
I'm getting the rankings up there already now.
All right, so this is crime/mafia movies. Number 1 is Casino.
Kobe, you're first.
So he said these are like pretty generic because you
extremely well known movies.
Yeah. So I'm on. You started with Casino, so I'm gonna take a gamble that you're gonna have some like better known ones as well. So I'm gonna go with Casino at 4 here, just because I feel like we probably didn't start out as hot. So I like 4.
I haven't seen Casino.
Except for the Sharon Stone, there are moments in that movie where it's just like it's too much. I'm just like,
yeah. So I feel like 4 is a good starting spot till I hear another 1 or 2.
I'm gonna hold Kobe's hand here.
Don't be stealing it.
4. I haven't seen it, but Dan has been advising me to watch it. The last movie I listened to him on, I watched it and it was great. It's a Scorsese movie. You can't hate on Scorsese. I'm putting it at 4.
Okay.
All right, number 2, Goodfellas.
I'm going number 2. I mean, what more do you need to say? Goodfellas number 2. Dan, if my number 1 choice ain't up here, we're gonna have a problem.
All right.
See, this is where do you change it to be different? Do you risk there being not as good of a movie? Because like 2 feels good there for Goodfellas as well, but I don't want me and Harrison just right down the line.
It's your list, buddy.
Yeah. I'm talking out loud, entertaining. Let's do Goodfellas at 2. We'll try to swap it up after this pick.
I love that movie. Absolutely love that movie.
Banking on him having the number 1 movie.
Number 3, The Godfather.
See, I'm a put just as far as like iconic mafia movies. I feel like Godfather has to be at 1 for me. I mean,
if you're watching, put your ranking in the comments. I mean, we'd love to see your guys' ranking.
I feel like that was the one I was holding out for as far as like just iconic mafia movies.
Harrison's never seen this movie.
I feel like it's got to go at 3 for you then, Harrison, if you've never seen it.
There's one more I'm holding out for.
Exactly. So, nice.
Don't let me down, Dan.
Number 4 is Departed.
Oh, shit. Oh, boy. Oh, shit. I love The Departed. I'm instantly regretting The Godfather at 3. I don't want to put it at 5. I don't want to put Departed at 5 because I don't know what's coming. But I also don't want to put it at 1.
I tried to get this man to watch this movie for 6 months.
All right. Just because it's just bat crap crazy and pretty much everybody dies, like Game of Thrones style before Game of Thrones, The Departed is going number 1 for me.
Spoiler alert watching this show. Holy cow.
Number 1 for me. Dan, don't let me down. but he's
I
probably
really-
let me down.
I really wish our viewers would actually put their list up because I would love to see how they rank them.
Yeah, I'm going 3 here for Departed. I feel like I left a good spot for it right there. I feel like that's a pretty fair. Now it just depends if Dan sticks me here with the
right.
5th.
Number 5. This is almost every single NFL player's favorite movie. Scarface.
I'm cool with mine.
I actually am too. I'm not that upset. Like, I mean, obviously, if I'd known, but
That's the thing.
But that's the thing. You don't.
Great.
You don't know.
Can we admit that all 5 of these movies are bangers? I mean, absolute bangers
for sure. What would your order be, Dano, if you were picking?
I would probably go Goodfellas 1, Departed 2, Godfather, Casino, Scarface, or Scarface, Casino. I would have Casino 5. Sharon Stone, just that whole storyline, just like it just saps that movie for me. Like I fast forward all of those parts.
Some good movies to get
Ace
you.
Rothstein, my man.
Hey man,
casino in the desert.
If you're watching, listen to this. Even though we're having some issues with getting them out there to listening to this podcast, but
damn it, Harrison.
if you need something to do this week before football comes back, watch one of those movies. Let us know what you think. Let us know how stupid we all are for not putting the correct one in the correct order.
Really, just do it for Kobe. Don't do it for me.
What do you think of Blind Draft there? I mean, that was off the hook.
For me giving you the alert at what time was it?
Like 8:15, 8:10? I don't know.
Yeah, it was around 8 o'clock. That was awesome. And Dan probably had that on the list of ones he wanted to do. So it wasn't just hot off the cuff. It was like he probably had it in his back pocket for a little bit. Yeah, good stuff. Good work tonight, Dan. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for episode 159 of the Top Talk podcast.
I think we're at 160.
Are we 160? I was looking at the notes. I think we're at 159, but we might be at 160. Who knows? I should keep count of that. That's Kobe Pierce. That's Dan Kiley. I'm Harrison Reno. Subscribe for more Dan rants. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast.
I haven't done Dan rant in a while.
Yeah, maybe we got to bring him back. It's been a little bit. Dan hasn't had much to rant about, other than me not watching movies, which maybe one week he can rant about that here. All right. Appreciate you. We'll see you on Sunday at 8:30, same place, almost same time, just an hour later. For you Central Time folks, it is still 7:30. Appreciate you. We'll see you on Sunday.